Today's Newspoll confirms that with early voting opening tomorrow and less than 2 weeks now until polling day, the most likely outcome is a Labor minority government. So Anthony Albanese back in the lodge and Adam Bandt too, perhaps some Teals as well with the whip hand. Now I can't think of anything worse for our country. The Teals, well, they're basically Gucci Greens who pretend they're independent but operate as any party does. And the Adam Bandt mob, well, today they're Marxists, aren't they? A long way away from the environmental tree huggers that the Greens started out as in the 1970s. It's hard not to be despondent for the future of our country. Yet there's still a fortnight left, and as the saying goes, even a week is a long time in politics, let alone two. Newspoll today reinforces the previous two polls that had Labor ahead 52-48 on two-party preferred, slightly improving its primary vote, albeit off an historically low base. While this poll has Peter Dutton better placed to defend the nation and to grow the economy, overall his approval numbers are down, as is his better PM rating. A part of the problem of Dutton, I suspect, is that everyone who's fed up with the Albanese government is desperately disappointed that the opposition isn't landing more blows. Dutton, though, he's not ready to throw in the towel, having been there in 2010 and 2019 when the Libs were behind but did better than anyone expected.
I pointed out before in 2019, I think there was a bigger undercurrent of anger against the then government or the then opposition than people realise, and I think that's the case against the now government as well. That's the reality. We've got a long way to go between now and then, and I think Australians who are looking at are they better off today than they were 3 years ago, I think people, frankly, certainly the ones we've met across the country, would be saying, actually, you know what, our lives are much harder today.
Albanese, well, one look at him today and he was as cocky as we've ever seen him. Out came that Medicare card again, even though it's a lie that a Medicare card's all you need to see a doctor. Most of us know there's always an out-of-pocket cost, something that even the doctor groups called him out on last week.
$50 billion of cuts to health. We know that the Liberal Party don't believe that anyone values things which are free. They don't need their credit card, they just need their Medicare card.
But that's not his only shameless lie.
A coalition that needs to find cuts for its $600 billion nuclear plan. When polling booths open tomorrow, say where the money is coming from for this $600 billion nuclear plan.
$600 billion, he says. And where does that costing come from? Not from official government sources, I can tell you. I wrote that in the Australian newspaper last week. It comes from an outfit called Smart Energy Council. Not so smart either. It's linked to Simon Holmes Court and it's chock-a-block full of ex-Labor staffers at the same time as it's registered as a charity. I mean, give me a break. Something that my colleague Andrew Clennell had Labor bother boy, Murray Watt, on the ropes about yesterday.
The independent science agency of this country, the CSIRO, as well as the Australian energy market operator that runs the energy grid, have both said that the cheapest way for Australia to meet its power needs in the future is through renewables. We haven't engaged some consultant to give us the advice that we were seeking. This is the independent agencies.
What's $600 billion based on?
So that's come from the Smart Energy Council, who are experts in this field and have calculated the total cost at $600 billion.
It hasn't come from the CSIRO. It hasn't come from an official body. It's come from a lobby group.
Smart Energy Council is a lobby group. It's an energy renewables lobby group, funded in part from all these people making money out of renewable energy. And as I said, chock-a-block full of ex-Labor staffers. So this $600 billion figure is a Labor lie. And it matters because it's being plastered on billboards right around the country and on flyers being shoved into your letterbox as we speak. And yet, is the Prime Minister interested in the truth? No, he's not. He couldn't lie straight in bed.
Photos with everyone, okay?
I stepped back one step. I didn't fall off the stage. Just one leg went down, but I was sweet.
He even lies when it comes to who he barracks for.
Stayed loyal to the Hawks because you can't change teams.
So no bandwagon?
Absolutely not. I've been a Hawks fan for many decades.
Give it up, Albo, no one's buying it.
Authorised by Ahurst Liberal, Canberra.
Give me a break. There are so many issues, large and small, where Labor is vulnerable in this campaign. Now, in the great scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. But what was the Labor National Executive doing, as discussed here with Claire Chandler on Thursday, rubber stamping a fake pre-selection to disendorse Lions MP Brian Mitchell so he could then claim a taxpayer-funded payout?
Brian Mitchell said that he was more than happy to step aside and allow the former state Labor leader, Rebecca White, run as the federal member for Lions. But what we now find out is that a pre-selection process has taken place by the Labor National Executive, which the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, sits on. And Mr Mitchell apparently put his hand up for this pre-selection, and it was competitive against Ms White. Was Mr Mitchell standing aside to allow Ms White to run, or has the Labor Party fabricated some kind of pre-selection process in consultation with the Prime Minister to enable Mr Mitchell to pocket this $115,000 taxpayer payout?
All for that $100,000 payout. What about the trickiness last week too on negative gearing? The PM denying that Labor had done any work on dumping negative gearing when the Treasurer had already conceded last year that they had. Then there's that infamous lie about cutting your power bills. And then over the weekend, another one about Russians trying to build a base in Indonesia on who knew what and when.
The opposition is asking for a briefing on something that doesn't exist. I mean, they might as well ask for a briefing on the Loch Ness Monster. This is something that doesn't exist, that they fabricated. Peter Dutton ran his mouth off and started verballing and accusing the Indonesian president.
What, that Russia wants propaganda to be promoted by Australians? Of course they want propaganda. And Russia engages in that. What I do know is that last week the alternative Prime Minister of Australia verbaled the President of Indonesia.
Hubris and deception. All this government does is lie when it's under pressure. Show me where they've made a promise and then kept it. Show me where Australians are better off after 3 years of Albanese Labor, because you can't. That's the truth of it. But seriously, I can't fathom how anyone could elect them again, but if something big doesn't happen in the final 2 weeks of the campaign, then that's where we are headed. And if you think Labor hasn't already done a deal with the Greens, despite what the Prime Minister says, then think again. Here's the official Labor Party how to vote cards, quietly uploaded to their websites ahead of early voting tomorrow. Here's the PM seat of Grayndler. Now he's number 1 on the ticket, but number 2, it's the Greens. Here's the Melbourne seat of Melbourne. Labor there, Sarah Whitty, she's number 1. Who's number 2? Well, none other than the Greens leader, Adam Bandt. Here's the Victorian marginal seat of Corangamite. Labor again preferencing the Greens in the number 2 spot. Tony Burke? Well, he's backing the Greens in number 2 as well. Right across the country in seat after seat, Albanese is giving Bandt Labor's top preference. And in the Teals seats of Wentworth and Kooyong, well, of course, Labor's preferencing them. Surprise, surprise, it goes to show just how green they really are.
I'm standing on integrity. Sign my petition for a second co-ed public high school in the East. I'm a renewable energy advocate. Authorised by S. Callan, Better Australia, Sydney.